Stratos guitar making tips. Today we're going to shoot some edges on this spruce, European spruce, so we can make an invisible join. Probably the most difficult and important join on your guitar. We start by checking that the edge runs with the grain. We don't want any grain run out, so just look along the edge, just make sure that the grain runs with it, and if not, then we need to cut with the grain and start with the grain so that when we book match the two together, that the join is invisible. So this one is good. The edge runs with the grain. So the procedure is, we're going to plane on this shooting board here with the plane sitting on its edge like that, on the side edge. So we're going to plane one up like that and the other one down like that. And the whole idea of that is that because to get the blade exactly 90 degrees when we're planing it is really difficult. So if we've planed one up and one down, then the angle of the blade, whatever it is, will marry, and we don't have to worry too much about getting the angle of the blade perfect. So, all right, so I'm going to mark this one. I'm going to make this one my up one, so I write up, and this one can be my down one. Okay, so we put that in on the shooting board, like so. Couple clamps. Don't have too much overhanging. This timber has a bow in it, so it holds the centre nice and flat. Alright, I've got two number 5 plans. One has a slightly deeper set, and the reason for this is because I start with making, planing a hollow into that edge. So I make sure that there's a hollow stopping about 25 mil from the edge, or thereabouts. So here we go. Okay, so this one here has already a little bit of a hollow in it, so we're not getting a lot of timber off this edge because of the hollow that's already in that piece of wood. But, so you can see now, while I'd only come within 25 mil from the edges, that this plane is actually not picking up any timber, even though that the blade has a reasonable amount of set on it. So that means that we've got a hollow in that edge. Now I use another number 5, which is really fine set, and I make strokes all the way through, just nice steady strokes. Here we go. And firm pressure, and through we go. Okay, now for a long time you're going to get 2 shavings. Okay, so here you can see 1, 2. So there's 2 shavings there, only short. Now those shavings are going to get longer each time. Okay, 2 shavings, a little bit longer. And I'll just keep going for a few more strokes. Now these shavings have to be fine. This process doesn't work if you've got thick shavings. So fine shavings. So you keep going until you get one continuous shaving. See that? Shavings are getting longer each time. And we'll just keep it going. And you can see I'm putting firm pressure into the corner, and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. It's got to be steady. Alright, so we're very close now. See, we're getting nice, beautiful, thin shavings. Still not one long continuous one. I'm just going to give it a little bit more because I've got it a little bit too fine there. So just a fraction more blade. Alright, there we go, one long continuous shaving. Now, we're going to do the same on the other one, and then we're going to see if they come together well. Okay, so this is our down side. We sit that in on the shooting board, same as before. Now, again, just remember, not too much overhang, because if you've got overhang and it's flopping around like that, that's no good. Okay, clamps. Now remember, we've got one plane that's set a bit deeper than the other, and that's what we use to plane the hollow with. So again, I'm going to start in the middle, plane a little bit, so much, just a bit more, bit more, bit more, and then stop about 25mm from the edge. So here we go. If we had a curved edge going the other way, then you'll just keep planing and planing and planing, because you won't ever know. There's no real indicator that you've got a nice straight edge. Whereas with the hollow, we know straight away we've got a straight edge when we get that long continuous shaving. So that's the whole theory behind this procedure. So here we go, we'll plane the hollow into it. Okay, remember, stopping, not going all the way through. We're stopping about 25mm from the edge. Okay, so you see now I'm planing and I'm not taking anything off. So I'll just move those away. So plane, nothing's coming off now. So now I know there's a hollow there, because the plane won't pick up any timber. So now I take my other plane, which is set pretty fine, and I take the shavings off. Now, we should get two short shavings. Okay, here we go, 1, 2. So we keep doing that a few times until we get one long continuous one. Okay, now here we have one long shaving. This is where we stop, because now for the plane to be able to take one long continuous shaving off that edge, it means that it's straight. So now I test it with the other edge. Now this procedure generally works pretty well, but you don't always get it first time. So even though we've got our long continuous shavings, usually you still need to tweak it a bit. So when I hold that there, see, I'm using my body weight. I've got plenty of that, so there's no worries there. So I'm just using my body weight there to hold it against the other piece, and I can tap along that edge to see how it's looking. Now, you probably can't see there, but I can see that there's a little hollow in the middle here. And the reason I can see that is because it's bouncing. See that? Bouncing up and down. It's touching here, well, almost touching there. So see, it's touching there. It's definitely touching there. It's touching down here pretty well, but in the middle, it's not. So that means we have to take one more shaving off that. Okay, let's give it another go. Okay, that's get it looking pretty good. Okay, so what's happening here is it's now touching in the middle, and the edges are sort of showing there's a little bit of a bounce on the edges, which means I've actually gone a little bit far. So what I do now is I set and that was probably because the shavings were not quite fine enough. So now what I'll do is I'll just set the plane really finely, and I'll take one shaving off, very fine, a little bit more maybe. Okay, so we're going to take one off the middle, out of the middle here, and then I'm going to take one long continuous one, and hopefully that's fixed the problem. Okay, nice long continuous shaving. Let's see if that works. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So that's not bouncing there. It's good in the middle, and it's good, pretty good down this end as well. So that's looking pretty good there. Next thing we do is we take it up to the window and we hold it up to the light. If we can see any light through it, then it's not good enough. Okay, before I take it to the window, I just want to point something out here. So we've got up written on this one. That one gets planed that way. I've got down written on this one. That one gets planed that way. And we plane in the same direction with both of them. And then when it's time to check them, then the up and the down have to be on the same face. Okay, so we're only planing that one down. We don't glue it like that. It gets glued like that. Okay, now we're going to take these to the window. If we don't see any light when I squeeze them together, then that's good for gluing. So, you've got to squeeze them together when you're checking. You don't just sit it there, you squeeze them lightly together, and that looks good. When I squeeze them together, there's no light coming through there, and I'm happy with that.